welcome back to Onyx Pages. I am super excited because this video is about World of Wakanda! So this is World of Wakanda, and if you have been following my channel, you know that I am very 100% new to graphic novels and comics. So half of the time I don't really know how to read them, to be honest. But this was really easy, probably because of the lesbian romance, but we will get to that. So World of Wakanda, if you haven't heard of this comic, it is part of the Marvel universe. It tells the story of the women warriors who are tasked with protecting Black Panther and King T'Challa of Wakanda. And if you haven't seen the trailer for Black Panther, you just need to pause this video, open a new window, and go and see it, because it's something 100% fierce. It's amazing, and distracting me from this video because it's so good. Anyway, Roxanne Gay, she was responsible for the writing of this volume, and it's amazing. The graphic novel is gorgeous. The colors are bright and beautiful for the most part. There are some fails, but for the most part, the story is cute. There are so many parts of the romance that reminded me of myself. There were surprising elements of the story, so just really awesome. But let me tell you a little bit what it's about. So Ayo and Akena are, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Sorry, Annika. They are both a part of this group of all-female warriors who are responsible for protecting Wakanda, and in particular protecting the king. And Annika is a chief, and she's responsible for training the new recruits. And a hot new recruit comes by named Ayo, and sparks fly immediately in a very recognizable way for any of the queers watching this video. And so, they sort of realize that they've got the hots for each other, and it's a little complicated because one is training the other, but that's also kind of hot. They just have to figure out how to do this relationship. They are part of being a warrior, and part of being part of this group is that they have to remain available to marry the king should the king decide that he wants to marry one of them. And so there's a bit of a crisis of the heart that occurs because these two women are in love with each other. That part of the story took up too much prominence for me. I really wished that this was simply a story of two women in love trying to figure out how to do that properly while being warriors, as opposed to having this looming issue of some man who could try to snap one of them up or snag them up. So that was a little disappointing, but I don't know. I'm not Roxanne Gay. I don't know how they would have otherwise found a way to integrate into the world of Wakanda, but who knows. Anyway, so it just tells us a story, and my favorite moment, and this tends to be my favorite moment in any kind of romance, is the beginning stages, where the people who are kind of trying to figure out their feelings for each other are finding ways to do that while still maintaining confidence, still trying to save face, not risking too much, not being too vulnerable. And there's always this moment where they both kind of just surrender to their feelings. And I feel like that is the most magical and amazing moment of all romances, and in this particular one, the way that was done was just breathtaking. So props to Roxanne Gay for that. So I would definitely recommend that you read World of Wakanda, regardless of your interest in Marvel or your interest in Black Panther. If you want to see a different kind of comic story, this is, well, different for some, right? This would be really common for me, but certainly it's a new incursion into the Marvel world. And I am very disappointed that World of Wakanda has been discontinued. I think that it didn't really, like, Marvel people, if you're watching this, you didn't give World of Wakanda enough time to flourish, because I think the majority of people who would be moved by this comic are probably not regular comic readers and would probably have taken a lot of time to try and to find it, and then once they found it would have loved it. So the fact that the decision to cancel World of Wakanda was made by looking at the pre-sale numbers, I think that that was a little misguided. So there you go. Anyway, in terms of the 7 cowrie shell system and what I would rate this, for plot I would give World of Wakanda, I would give, well, this volume, which I believe has issues 1 through 6. So I'm talking about 6 issues together. I would say that I would give the plot 1 full cowrie shell, because I laughed, I didn't cry, but I did cringe. I got mad. Like, there were a lot of emotions involved. There were definite climaxes throughout. There was one part of the comic that I just didn't, part of the story that I just didn't understand, but it ended up not being particularly material, so it was totally fine. So that got definitely 1 cowrie. For characters, 100% 1 full cowrie shell, because I just loved all of the women characters. And some of the male characters too, but they weren't really front and center, which is fantastic. So I really loved Io. I really loved Annika. I loved Mistress Zola, or Mistress Zoya. She was just amazing. She reminded me of one of my aunts, actually. So just the characters were wonderful. I think that it would have been nice to get a little bit more character development, but I don't really know how that happens in graphic novels, and certainly in 6 issues. So a full cowrie shell for that. For the world building, 1 full cowrie shell. I enjoy the world of Wakanda, aptly named. I really appreciated how in one of the issues we're taken to another place in time, and we can compare that place in time to, not another place in time, but another place, and we can compare that place to Wakanda, and that puts Wakanda in context, which is really great. And I'll have to say that our solar-powered Afrofuturism reading group read World of Wakanda for September of 2017, and we met yesterday to talk about that book. So that point that I just raised about seeing different places and throwing Wakanda in relief, that came from somebody else who was in our reading group, and when she talked about that, I thought about it, and I thought that that was really great. So that's why I raised that. Afrofuturism, is it Afrofuturist? 100%. Totally. Like, some of the images have, you know, women, black women, warriors with these, like, 4-dimensional, they're not even like physical, but these screens where they can speak to each other in different places without needing an actual device. That was amazing. They've got these bracelets that have GPS on them that they can speak to each other. Like, that was great. And then there was a bonus story that involves a young woman who has telepathic abilities. There's nanobite technology that can enhance the human form, and so there are just a lot of different aspects of Afrofuturism in this. And for some, the idea that the African continent can be technologically superior is really preposterous and fantastical. So the fact that that's the case here is really kind of exceptional, I think. So 1 full cowrie shell for Afrofuturism. For LGBT content, obviously 1 cowrie shell. This is a graphic novel about 2 African futuristic women warriors who are in love. So, like, what else would you get but 1 cowrie shell for that? Does it challenge norms? I think I would give this half a cowrie shell, because there were opportunities. There were opportunities to trouble some of the stereotypes that we have, and certainly stereotypes within the queer community about how queer relationships work, dominance and subordinates, you know, how we present gender. I mean, there were missed opportunities here. So I would say that despite getting a full cowrie shell for queerness, that there could have been more work done in developing the queered identities of these particular of these women. Hopefully, if there are more issues of this graphic novel, that will change, but we shall see. And was this aspirational? Yeah, I think I'd give a full cowrie shell for that criteria as well, because we've got these two characters who through, I guess, later on, maybe in issue 5 or 6, I couldn't really tell the difference between each issue, but there's a bit of a defection that happens where the group of women warriors have to sort of decide whether or not their allegiance to Wakanda and to the king, whether their allegiance is being actualized in the way that it needs to be, and whether or not their orders should be followed in the ways that their orders have been presented to them. So there's a sort of crisis that happens here that got me thinking about power and about loyalty, and so I think that there was definitely an aspirational element to the story. But I would give half a cowrie shell for that, because it wasn't quite developed until the end, and it seemed sudden, and it didn't really get dealt with in a really principled way. It was just something that kind of happened. So I'm not sure if this is me reacting to the ways that plots develop and deepen in graphic novels, or whether it's a failing of the storytelling. I'm not sure. So I will give half a cowrie shell for this being aspirational. As usual, I'm not sure how many cowrie shells this book has gotten, because my mental math while recording these videos can be a little sketch, but I think we're at 6.5 out of 7 cowrie shells, but I will do the math and I will put up on this video. So definitely, if you're gonna read a graphic novel this year or this month, just read this. Like, forget about the others, just read this one, because it's really amazing and it's beautiful. There's just so much good stuff happening in here. So you should buy it and you should read it. If you have read World of Wakanda and you have some thoughts about it, it would be wonderful if you could put a link to your video or to your blog in the comment section below, because I'll watch your video and I would love to hear what you thought about World of Wakanda. So that is it. Very excited. I want more. Marvel, you suck because you discontinued this. Think it over. Thank you very much for watching Onyx Pages, and I'll see you next time.